Hello everyone, Brian here with another game of Modern Warfare 2. This is Ground War Team Deathmatch on Derail. One thing I did want to talk about in the beginning of this commentary is based upon some of the comments I have received in my previous videos. I really do appreciate the compliments you guys give me on my gameplay and how much you do enjoy the videos, and some of you think I am some kind of great player, which is definitely not the case. I am the first to admit I am by no means great. There are many, many better players out there for me, many of them whose YouTube videos I do watch myself. You will never see me get 100 plus kills in a game, and you'll probably never see me do a double or a triple nuke or a nuke without kill streaks or anything else like that. And a few of you had asked how I do come up with some good gameplays, because I believe a few of you had said you do struggle with it sometimes. And I had thought about that for a little while, and I wanted to give you what I came up with so far. Based on my time playing this game, it seems to me that most maps have their own pattern to them, whether it be a particular spot most players like to rush to immediately, or a building that everyone tries to control right off the bat. A few examples that come to mind are Afghan. Regardless of the game type on that map, it seems like everyone wants to do laps of the map. For instance, on Domination, if your team starts out controlling, let's say, B and C, your team, for the most part, is definitely going to try to push towards A and take that, and hence the enemy team is going to try to go around the top again and retake C, and that whole cycle is just going to continue. Another example is Overgrown. No matter what game type that is, people always seem to want to control and dominate that building in front of the B domination flag. On Rundown, obviously people love the buildings near the center of the map with the balconies that overlook the, I want to say, C side of the map, or the buildings right in front of A. On Salvage, you know there's always going to be people noob tubing or sniping from the house at the rear of the map, as well as people on top of the platform in front of the B flag, which happens to be my favorite place to go on that map. Sub base, you know the two buildings overlooking the central point B on both ends. People are going to be camped out in there as well. And I mean, pretty much the list just goes on and on for every map in the game. And if you pretty much can figure out what these tendencies are and use them to your advantage, that in most cases will put you in a position to do well. Now, most people in this game obviously are aggressive players, and you can use that as well. Take it for example the way I did earlier in this game. I was camped out by the back stairs. I knew a couple enemies were in here, so I let my two teammates rush in first without looking around corners or anything else, and I waited to see if they lived or died before I blindly went up the stairs. Now let's talk about this map a little bit more. This building is a great place to be, but it's also a death trap at the same time, because people just keep lobbing grenades in, shooting tubes in, RPGs. So sometimes, even though you can rack up some great kill streaks by just taking advantage of the fact that every player wants to rush in here and get some good kill streaks going, you also run the risk of dying probably more than anyone else at the same time. So a lot of it is about positioning and playing some pretty solid defense with the claymores, and just trying to stay out of a window at times when you know that the enemy team is going to be tossing grenades in, and just trying to be in the right spot and giving yourself the flexibility to move away from a grenade you might see tossed in. That is what it is about on some of these maps. Not to be a little bit cliche or anything, or use a cheesy analogy, but sometimes the best offense is a good defense, and this map is definitely one of those cases. So I hope some of my opinions and thoughts made some sense to you guys, and if it helps you out, great. And I want to ask some of the more experienced players that watch this video, if you could help out in the comment section, maybe some of the less experienced players, or those people who did originally leave me those comments that may struggle a little bit sometimes with getting some good gameplays going. Leave some ideas or thoughts of your own in the comment section as far as what you think some of the keys are to success in this game. And if we can just help a few people out, you know, that's sometimes what it really is all about. Everyone is always trying to become a better player. Like I said earlier, I am by no means a great player, but I am more than willing to offer any insights that I have from all the time that I have put into playing this game. So if you guys could chip in there as well, I would really appreciate it, and I'm sure some of those guys would as well. Now let's move on to the next thing I want to talk about during this gameplay. One thing that's really been frustrating me with this game recently, it's not so much, not the game itself so much maybe as it is the matchmaking system. Sometimes, I back out of a decent amount of games sometimes because a lot of times when you hop into a ground war game, the game is either half over or the enemy team is just totally dominating and they got chopper gunners, AC-130s, and Harriers in the air. So obviously another person is already backed out of the game, and you get dropped into it. And obviously when the game is that far gone and you're going to get absolutely throttled, why would you want to stay in there? So you back out of the game, wait a few seconds, and try go back into a lobby search and try to find another ground war game. And sure enough, what happens? It drops you in the same lobby again. So okay, dumb luck there. I back out again and wait a few more seconds and hop back in, and it drops you in the same game again. I mean, it happens a lot in, it's even when I want to do some booster hunting in Bare Bones Pro. You go into a lobby, it's team deathmatch, no one's boosting, so I back out and wait a few more seconds, and you go back in. It keeps putting you in the same damn game. I really, really do hope in Black Ops that Treyarch, if they, even if they don't go to a server system and continue to do the player hosting, because sometimes obviously it does stink because the player can back out of the game and force it, the host migration fail, and then you lose, a good gameplay. And that just sucks. So even assuming they even leave it that way, as long as they put something in where you can select whether you want to be dropped into a game in progress, or if the matchmaking system can be smart enough to know that if you backed out of a certain lobby, that the odds are you don't want to go back in there, and it doesn't keep dropping you back into the same game, that would be really, really nice. Obviously, they are probably about to start doing beta testing on it soon, so I don't know if that's something they can tweak or not down the road, but I'm sure they are getting a ton of suggestions from the community, and once the beta is released, I'm sure they'll be taking even more suggestions, so hopefully a lot of people will be mentioning that to them if they haven't already. I'm sure they have, because that is a big annoyance, I guess, within Modern Warfare 2. And it just takes up a lot of time. Sometimes, we don't have, 3-4 hours to sit down and play. I know myself, when I play at night, I normally sit down around maybe 10:30 at night, and I play up until around midnight, give or take. Sometimes I let it go a little bit longer depending upon the maps or lobbies I'm in. If I keep getting dropped in the maps that I know I do well on, I'll stay in and play a couple games longer, and sometimes play till a little before 1, and only give myself a few hours sleep before I have to get up for work the next morning. But, that is one thing I really do hope they get right. Because if you only do have an hour or two to play, how much time can you really waste until you find a good lobby? You could sit there for 10-15 minutes sometimes trying to find a lobby that you actually want to play in, because the matchmaking system is just so out of whack or skewed or screwed up, whatever, pick your words. So here I do get my second chopper gunner, and I'm pretty bummed out that I never get a chance to call it in, because the enemy team has a chopper in the air. And of course, once that chopper finally goes away, they call in a pave low as well. And I never get to use my last chopper gunner. Not that they probably would have got me too many kills, as we're only 500 points away from ending this game. But I would have liked to have just called it in for fun, because that is what this game is supposed to be all about after all. But this game is about to wind down. We are only a couple of points away from winning. And here I am still foolishly trying to call in my chopper gunner because I just don't want to let it go. We obviously do dominate this other team pretty handily and win by a decent margin. And surprisingly enough, victory is achieved before time runs out in this map, as it normally does in most cases. And my final score for this game is 25-1-2. So until next time, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you have a good one.